Or you're listening to 92.3 Inspirational Family, your number one family radio station. Ladies and gentlemen, we break records for different reasons. You know, us here, we broke one record. We are the number one family radio station.
Don't play with us.
Exactly, and then you can understand when we bring record breakers to the studio. If you look at Bukola now, she's broken a record. The only person, her name, I mean, we had Ladipo on the show before. And the record for me that she broke is that her name is the only name left that has not gone into a song. We've had Folashade, we've had Amaka, but there's no Bukola yet. For me, Bukola has been there. Frankedo sang about me.
What is wrong with you, guys? What is wrong with you?
Forget about it.
Let's just get into this, alright? So yeah, if you just turn on the radio, I do have to say that you've missed an amazing hour of goodness. I mean, we enjoyed good music and also talked to Ladipo right here on the show. And guess what? We're moving on to another interview. We have an amazing person in the studio. Just as Ibuka said, there's just something spectacular about breaking records. Because while some people just think it's for fun, it's you setting the tone. It's you telling people that you're resilient, you are strong, you're determined, and you can show a certain level of discipline. And I believe that this is what this person has been able to show with what he's done, winning the Guinness World Record on the longest marathon trumpet blowing. I'm talking about Joshua Olusanya. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I think the weather is good today. So far it's been great.
Okay.
I think we have to start off this way. On the 9th of May 2025, you played the trumpet for 25 hours and more.
30 minutes and 36 seconds. Don't forget that.
Linguistically, we can say you played the trumpet for over 25 hours. First of all, you are a trumpet player. Yes. How long have you been playing for before you decided to take up this record?
Professionally for 15 years.
15 years. Within those 15 years, how long did it take you to think about doing this? In fact, what inspired this desire to go after this record?
First of all, it's about the mission for me. Advancing music education. And advocating for the recognition of instrumental musicians, where their value is often underestimated in this part of the world. Right? When we talk about this instrument, or not just trumpet, but variety of different instruments, it's more of like using these people for backup, being at the back, right? But we had the heartbeat of music. We're trying to take the front stage, the center stage, and so I, as a trumpet influencer, I thought about what can actually push this mission out there more, advancing music education and for this recognition. So I decided to do something no one has ever done before, right? And I saw that there's no, as a trumpet influencer, there's no current record in the world. Oh my God, actually this was my second attempt.
What year was your first?
The first attempt was last year, and it was disqualified because I drank water.
No. I mean, we're coming there.
Just skip up.
So it's it's about the mission for me, and I just saw the opportunity to because I know I practice a lot. When people are sleeping, that's when I'm practicing. I've put in a lot of work, and so I decided to go for that feat to set the world record.
I think we should quickly go back to the beginning.
I think so too.
We're talking to any artist would easily ask the question of when was the first time you decided to start making music? What was the experience like? So let's take it all the way back, Joshua. Let's go back to the first time you ever saw this instrument. How did you feel? And was this the first instrument you learned how to play, or did you have other ones that you had learned before you then picked on this one and specialized on it?
Yeah, the first instrument I lay my hands on was the drums back in the days in church. Who played drums in church. And then the second instrument I picked up was the clarinet. The clarinet is very similar to saxophone. And so, and then when I found the trumpet, the first sound I blew out of that trumpet, it just resonated with me. I knew that was the one. It was built for me. So I knew that was the one. And so it's like a tool for me that's gonna drive me to my destination. So when you called that name trumpet, even in my sleep I wake up.
That's a very amazing experience. But of course, I like where she came from. Now we're here, at your startup. Now you have discovered this trumpet. We're taking you back now because there's someone listening to us right now who is a musician or an instrumentalist, and now you've advocated for something that has been successful. Now we thank God for that, but the person needs to understand what it took you to get here. Now we're at the point where you found the trumpet. But at what point did you desire, or did you decide to do this professionally? Because you're in Nigeria. Nigeria is a place where, let's be honest, while we see these things, to a lot of people they are just dreams and unachievable things. Because you'd say, how can an instrumentalist make it in Nigeria when there are all the jobs? But you took it professionally. Now let us know how you're able to sustain yourself while you decided to make that decision to take it professionally. And what did your family say?
First of all, I think I'll start from the family. To be honest, my dad is a big inspiration to my music journey.
Okay.
He listened to Fuji music a lot back in the days. Back to back Fuji music. So it has a way of, also help. I can sing word to word like back in the days.
Whoa.
Every day is always putting the record on. King Dr. Said Oshupa. And so my dad, loved Fuji music. So I started, and I grew up, loving rhythm and sound. And so to be honest, they never wanted me to do music. My mom wanted me to do this as just for passion, not as a career.
That's interesting.
Like you can play this, they know I love the music, but they don't want, every parent wants the best for their kids, right? So I saw the worries, and I'll tell you the breakthrough for me. The breakthrough for me was my first time out of the country. I traveled out. I didn't tell my family. Right.
Do they still know? Or they don't know about it?
No, then back in the days.
Oh, okay.
This was many years ago. So I traveled out, and then I tested my brother, and I said, "Hey man, this is what's going on." And he was like, "Wait, you traveled?"
And you didn't tell anybody?
Yeah. So and then he told my family, and when I got back to Nigeria, saw my whole family at the airport, and my dad gave me one kind of hug that I've never received before. That was now to be like, I think let's support him. I think.
What was he impressed? You're talking about a Nigerian father. Nigerian, right? What was he impressed at? The fact that my son went through, without my knowledge, and he went to another country.
Or the fact that you went to another country as a result of this.
Yes, and I went for a music festival, so it's about the music. So okay, if this thing can by himself, and he never got any fund or nothing from me to go for this music festival, and I think that was when they actually start. I think we can allow him to do this as a career.
Talk about the first time you ever played the trumpet in front of people. What was that like? The very first time, after trying to learn it and everything else, because I feel like these are the things that built you up to this point where you were able to try last year. A technical error, distorted the whole thing, and then go back again and try again this year. It takes a lot of tenacity, and that can be built over time. So the first time you ever played this in front of people, what was the experience like?
I think I was nervous. I can actually remember. Well, I want to say a big shout out to Dr. 𝐒𝐭𝐻𝐈𝐍𝐶, who gifted me my first trumpet.
Of course,
he gifted me my first trumpet.
Yes. That's beautiful.
Just so you know, for those who don't know that name, that's of course the General Overseer of the Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministries, which you popularly call MFM.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he gifted me my first trumpet, and I think my first performance was at the Power Must Change End. There's a program they have at the MFM camp, and it's huge. Right, so you finding yourself in that spot where you have to play in front of thousands of people, and I never knew what those things were doing to me that time. It was actually building I like playing. In fact, if I can have the whole of Nigeria be in a place and put me alone at the front and perform, that's how confident I am.
But that day,
so that day, I was a little bit, I was nervous actually, but then I just saw that over time it started getting better. The first time I was very nervous, playing in front of thousands of people. Yeah, I mean, as a solo artist, before then we've been playing sideways.
But it was just you. So it was just you on the stage playing, and you didn't freeze at any point.
I think I did it anyway because I was nervous. I was like, let me just get to that end of the music and just go.
Oh my gosh! While you were
definitely. Definitely.
I believe that experience was what brought you up until this point, and now it's time for us to really get into this record. You said it earlier that you're so passionate about making a statement for instrumentalists. You just want people to see and value what people like you, what you do. So what does it mean to you to, you know, be able to bless lives by simply holding this instrument and blowing into you? What does that mean to you, Joshua?
I'll say, first of all, I'm blessed, you know, to be an inspiration to many others. And it is not just about trumpet playing. It's about the message it carries. I'll tell you something about the first attempt I had. As a teacher myself at the American International School of Abuja, you know, we have kids from over 40 different countries, you know, attending the school. And so, and these kids were unhappy when they heard I was disqualified for the first time. And they went to me and they were like, oh, yeah. And then they disqualified Mr. Joshua, and because he drank water, and out there, you know, it was, and I saw that. I also drive some inspiration through that, not to let these kids down. It's okay, you can come back again, right? So it's there's a lot of, you know, things that, you know, drive these me coming back again. You know, it's the message it carries. And then when these kids also hear I'm going the second time, trust me, they were at home tuning to YouTube with their family. They were like, "Yes, this time around." You know, so the kids were, you know, were very inspired, you know, seeing coming again to do this. And I will tell you something. During my attempt, it got to a point where my lip failed. You know, I was bleeding, literally. You know, that was around 23 hours. You know, I was really bleeding. And then there was one of my colleagues. Shout out to Kelvin. You know, Kelvin's my colleague at the American school, an expatriate, who told me, and he said, during my break, I have like 5-minute break. And then he brought his phone and he showed me a particular video, you know, during my rest break. And this video was showing all of my students, all of the teachers cheering me on. So I'm like, no, I must not let this, you know, but I love kids a lot, you know, as a teacher, you know, if you want to be an amazing teacher, first of all, you have to love kids, you know, so, you know, that's kind of like, no, I have to go back to that stage and do this, do this thing,
And looking at it, you finally did it.
Yeah, you did it. You should be proud of yourself. Are you proud of yourself?
It's the happiest moment.
Wow. So 25 hours, 30 minutes and 36 seconds you played the trumpet. And I know that that's not something that a person does simply because they know how to, you know, play the trumpet or blow the trumpet. So that took a lot of work. Can we talk about the preparatory stage? Because I feel like some people just think, surely he can blow his before. That's why he just went and he just did it. You talked about how that at some point, you know, your lips were bleeding. Let's talk about the preparatory stage, the preparatory period. How did you cook and prep yourself for this challenge?
I'll start off by saying thank you to my amazing band. You know, it's not just about me. The band on stage will play with me for 25 hours, right? And so we practice really a lot. You know, before the first attempt and the second attempt, and you know, I'm very vast in this field. I'm very versatile. Jazz, classical, Afrobeat, whatever you need will go. Right, so the music is very diverse. We play different style of music, and so it was very challenging because the Guinness World Record do not actually want me to play with band initially. They want just me on stage and play for you, and I'm like, okay, the people are gonna be bored. You know, when they're doing few more, you know, vibe and things, you know, they just, I know it's an individual attempt, right? But can we spice things up a little bit? So I wrote to them and they emailed me back. I said, okay, Joshua, you know what? The band can play with you, like they play 3 songs with you and then you play 3 songs by yourself. What they want to get is they want to make sure you are playing like it's about you.
So like, how is the stretch for? Is it that you play for the first 2 hours, take a 5-minute break, or where do those breaks come in?
So it's 1 hour. If you play for 1 hour, you have 5-minute break. If you play for 2 hours, you have 10-minute break. So if you play 4 hours,
how long you play? Yeah.
So it's like you accumulate 5-minute break every 1 hour. But then if you play, let's say you play 1 hour and 59 minutes, you still have 5-minute break.
Oh, so it has to be 2 hours.
It has to be 2 hours before you can have a 10-minute.
So that means if you play for like 4 hours,
you can get 20-minute break in between.
That sounds nice, but it's not so easy.
So
at the same time.
You know, my face was falling off at some point. You know, you know, it gets to a point where it's, humanly speaking, it's really impossible. And so one thing I did right this second attempt was that I made sure I put God first.
That's important.
Yes,
That's important.
it gave me the strength, and and I can also say that it was very difficult for me to even break my first record. For the first record I played for 24 hours and 46 minutes. This second time was even more challenging.
I really know that this must have been very tasking for you, but one thing that has always intrigued me when I hear that people break this record is during the preparatory period, did you break the record? Like when you were preparing for it, was it that you had played for like, let's say 30 hours before, or how do people do it? You've done it now, and so I'm sitting next to you so I can ask. Or is it that you just played for like few hours at interval and then you knew you were ready? How did you know that you were ready to play for as long as you played? That's the 25 hours plus.
Okay, I think I will answer that question based on my first attempt. I never played for 24 hours before that day.
How many?
The highest I played before that first attempt was 15 hours.
Oh,
that's still a lot.
Yeah, but
that was
while you were practicing, you played for 15 hours.
Yes,
wow.
with my band.
Where exactly was it? In the church or something?
I have a studio in my office at the American school.
Okay,
yes, so
because I wanted to know how you try to just stay at church and play 15 hours like that.
Because you're gonna be, you don't want to faint before the day. You don't want to die before the day of the attempt.
I know, right?
So I made sure just to. This was how my practice routine was. We play from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 3 times a week.
Wow.
10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it got to a point where we were very close to like the first attempt date. I'm like, when you play the trumpet, humanly speaking, you would think, some part of your body that will hurt could be your arms, your back, or something. But trust me, it got to a point, my leg were literally shaking. Right? So I knew that if I would get to 20 hours, I might start experiencing something else that I've not, because I've not gotten to the hours. So that's why I increased my last rehearsal to 15 hours. And thank God I even did that, because at that point my legs were literally shaking. So I discovered that I don't have to sit for so long. I have to stand at some point and sit at some point. So I started balancing these things. So what works for me might not actually work for somebody else. I'm just sharing my experience.
All right, playing for 25 hours. When next are you going to play? Did you play the trumpet on Sunday?
I think I've played like 3 times after that.
I will take a long break. So just before we go,
someone actually told me that I think he's going to start eating the instrument.
So, but do you hate it? Because you came with it. Do you hate it?
But, I mean, I love the instrument because I think you have to like love the instrument first, even before you do such a thing. So I build even more love with the trumpet.
Yeah, but just before we go, I think one thing I want to know is, would you say that breaking this record has built a new form of character and a new level of strength in you as an instrumentalist, or as a musician? Would you say that something new sprung forth as a result of breaking this record?
Definitely.
What how does that make you feel? What's that like?
I think I got a message from outside the country a few weeks after the attempt, and it was based on a professor in Canada who told me and said they want me to come share my experience of how because I'm the one who can tell the story. If you haven't been through it, you won't understand. But one thing I can actually say is I train my mind more than even the practice.
It's practice. It comes from the inside.
Yes, you're going to get to your limit, but then how do you cross that limit? I think I can. For now, I think I'm the only one who can share that.
Yes, I agree as well. All right, so what's next? What's next for Joshua also?
There's a lot, I want to give a shout out to my manager, Damian Adenuga.
Big ups.
Damian Adenuga, I think the team has been working tirelessly. There's really a lot of big announcement coming soon. Trust me. And advancing music education, and we are taking it to the next level. Raising the values, and
all right, thank you so much for stopping by and for sharing your very inspiring story with us. And I also want to say a big shout out to everyone who cheered you on as you were going at it. Your parents, I'm pretty sure, your family, and also the general overseer himself. Big ups to everyone. Well done. I do have to say well done to you. You did a great 25 hours. Like this, my job. Can you do it for 25 hours? Can you do it for 10 hours non-stop?
If you're with me, I would do it for.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We gotta go. Play a short break. We're going on a short break for this man has to drink a bit. You know what? I think if your fans are trying to call in already. But of course, we go on that short break. When we come back, we're gonna play a fantastic song for him. She's just saying, God, thank you for everything. This is Baba Shanu by Great Man Tackett. And of course, you need to listen. You want to listen to him. He's gone down to 90.1 𝐜𝐍𝐶 FM. Just next door, and it was right there, sister station. But from us to you, soon be back. Don't go nowhere. We'll take your radio with you.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit the subscribe button for more. Leave a comment and like. Thank you.